This is a podcast featuring inspirational patient stories of perseverance to find the answers. Welcome to Desperate for a Diagnosis with Laura Nozica. Are you tired of the healthcare revolving door? Have you heard these words before? You don't look sick. It's all in your head. It must be anxiety. Your tests are inconclusive. There's nothing wrong with you. How many times have you heard those words from doctors, family, and friends? Have you seen doctor after doctor begging to put a name to your symptoms? How long have you been seeking answers? Months? Years? If this describes your experience, the Desperate for a Diagnosis podcast wants to tell your story. Physicians often want the diagnosis that fits in a box with a pretty bow, then hand over the treatment plan and send you on your way. It doesn't always work that way. You may be spinning through the healthcare revolving door for months or years seeking a name for your symptoms. Maybe you were successful, or maybe not. The Desperate for a Diagnosis podcast welcomes success stories of finding a diagnosis as well as the stories from patients who are still searching for answers. If your symptoms are being dismissed by physicians, family, and friends, you can relate to how others may feel. This podcast is also meant to be a forum for the medical community to learn from patients' frustrations to create a more efficient system to diagnose rare or mystery conditions. Health-related experts will also be featured on the podcast, along with discussions on current healthcare news. I'm from Chicago, and I have a long career in healthcare, which drives my passion to elevate the healthcare experience. I created this podcast out of my own experience of spinning through the healthcare revolving door. I am an independent market researcher focused on helping healthcare organizations and pharmaceutical companies better understand the patient perspective. To be a guest on the podcast, go to desperateforadiagnosis.com, click on Contact Me, where you will find a link to a form to be considered as a guest. Complete the form, and I will contact you to set up a screening call to learn more about you. I'm looking forward to hearing your story. Please note that this podcast is not meant to provide medical advice. The stories and experiences featured are strictly those as reported by the podcast guest. Also, please note that I am not a medical professional and I am not affiliated with any healthcare company.